I don't know how many of you saw the beta patch, which is now live for Pillars of Eternity 2, but if you're playing on the beta branch of the game, you can actually see the changes that are coming with 1.1 here in a couple of weeks. Now, it's important to note that these changes are not finalized and they are not live on the current build of the game. However, it is a preview of what is most likely going to come with the game. For Barbarians, Barbaric Blow was nerfed from plus 25% damage to plus 20% damage, which is hardly anything, and they mostly remained untouched. The first thing you'll notice about the Chanter subclass is that set to their purpose, they all knew their part, no longer gives the Brilliant inspiration, so it can't return resources to party members, which is what it used to do. You'll also notice that Mercy and Kindness followed wherever she walked is now nerfed from 100% healing done to 50% healing done, drastically reducing the healing output. On the Cypher front, Body Attunement, which previously gave plus 5 armor and minus 5 armor to a target, now only gives plus 2 to you and minus 2 to that target. Bad news for Soulblade Cyphers, as you now do half the raw damage as your total focus. When it comes to Druids, all their Wild Strike damage was nerfed considerably, making it much weaker than it was. Fighters not only had Penetrating Strikes damage nerfed, but Charge no longer deals damage at all and in fact only stuns enemies. Fighters have had Unbending nerfed from plus 50% down to plus 25%, and the upgrade that increases the healing back only goes up to plus 33%, previously it was plus 75%. Monks now have their Lightning Strikes deal 15% less shock damage, and Swift Flurry only affects melee weapons now, not ranged ones, so blunderbusses no longer work with it. On top of that, the burning damage from Turning Wheel was nerfed by over 50%, now only giving plus 2% burn damage per wound instead of plus 5%. Thunderous Blow's duration has been reduced from 20 seconds down to 12. And finally, Inner Death has had its crit damage reduced from plus 500% to plus 300%. On the Paladin front, Flames of Devotion was nerfed yet again. Anyone who has played the beta will tell you that it was nerfed heavily when the game first launched, and now it has gone down to 20% damage dealt as burn, and if you're a Bleakwalker, it's plus 12% damage dealt as corrode instead of plus 15%. Shared Flames was also nerfed from 20% down to 15%. Inspired Defenses now only gives 1 armor instead of 2 armor when damaged. Priests have had all their spiritual weapons nerfed, and now the additional damage is now no longer 50%, but 20% for all spirit weapons. Rangers have not been nerfed at all and in fact have been buffed slightly. Twin Shot now gives plus 25% damage on both arrows. However, if you're not playing a Soul Ranger class, then you basically are playing the same thing you were before. In general, rogues have had their damage buffed, which was sorely needed. Crippling Strike, Blinding Strike, and Ring the Bell have now plus 25% damage added to them. However, Backstab has been nerfed from 150% damage down to 100% damage. When it comes to Wizards, one of the most notable changes is with Lengrath's Displaced Image, now only giving plus 10% deflection and 30% of incoming hits to grazes, where it was previously plus 20% deflection and 50% of incoming hits converted to grazes. I'm really happy they are buffing Rogue and Ranger. They are probably the two weakest classes in general. You know, they do have their roles. However, you noticed I haven't made a Ranger build because, frankly, they just haven't been powerful enough in order to, recommend it to somebody. However, not only did they buff that, they literally nerfed almost everything that was great about all the other classes, and they are increasing the difficulty of Veteran and Path of the Damned significantly. So now, instead of being twice as hard, it's going to be 4 times as hard, which I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to. However, I think not the majority of people play Path of the Damned, so I'm not sure why they made these changes. These are significant changes to the game. I'm a huge fan of Divinity Original Sin, and they've patched their game considerably. However, none of my builds were ever broken by their patch, and I think players are going to be shocked to find that whatever they're playing right now on their character, if they're currently playing the game, is probably not going to work afterward unless they're playing like a pure caster, or they're playing a rogue or a single class ranger. The other thing I didn't mention is that they are nerfing gear considerably. The bonuses to some of the more powerful legendary items is getting nerfed heavily. Some of the racial bonuses have been nerfed, so there's nerfs everywhere. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see if this patch goes live, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up about what's coming because many of you are playing builds that may not work, and I really just wanted to give people a heads up because, I kind of feel like it's a disservice not to do that, because if you're planning your character and you're going to be playing a little bit each day, then maybe a week and a half from now when you're halfway through the game, it doesn't work anymore, you're going to be furious. If you guys want to switch to beta mode so you can see what the changes are for yourself with your current builds, you can go to Steam and then go to options on your game and go to opt into the beta, and it will download the patch. And you can check out what's different about your current build versus what you have, and that'll give you some idea of what to expect here in a week or two.